All right. Hey there, everybody. It's Jason Linett here. Today is March 7th, 2017. It's 11:59 a.m., which means we are just a few seconds away from officially jumping in. For those of you that are hanging out here at the moment, as always, as I like to do, it's a bit of a one-man show. So take note, there is a Q&A box down beneath this video, which I'll be playing host. I'll be playing janitor, and I'll be playing moderator the entire way through this as well. So as you have questions, do enter your questions into that Q&A box. I will see them on my other display here. I do ask the small favor that you only put in your question once, just because I will see it, and I've already been getting a lot of good questions coming in. This is Hypnotic Talks, 5 strategies to grow your hypnosis business by going out and giving talks that are hypnotic in nature. Looks like nice 116 people right now. We're probably going to max out. So my software only allows 150 people in. This is why my emails typically say log in 10 minutes early, and we'll give it about maybe 15 seconds. Then we will officially jump in. So good to see everybody here. 124. Who do we got? Say hello if you're in the room, and we'll give you the shout out on back if we like. I'm about to, wonders of timing. Here I am with you guys before heading out to the Ultimate Stage Hypnosis Conference, and then to do the Master Hypnotist course with Sean Michael Andrews, which as of now, there still is only 1 spot left. So come hang out with me and Sean in Las Vegas, masterhypnotistcourse.com. And then after that as well, Anthony Gailey is doing his Corporate Hypnotist Masterclass. Check that out as well at corporatehypnotistmasterclass.com. All these events, outstanding opportunities. 140 people. Well, it looks like we're about to max out, so let's officially jump in. And of course, yeah, Maggie's the first one to say hello. What up, Maggie? Now in Georgia. And sup, JL from David. And just a hello from Jim. Nice try, Jim. So let me switch over to my screen share here. It's been a while since I've done this. Let me hit play from start as I shuffle some buttons around here. I know how to do most of my own technology. And let's see. I'm going to share my application window. Ooh, can I do that? Nice. Yeah, let's do that. Cool. And it looks like, let me wait for my little display to tell me that we're in motion here. And there we go. And fantastic. Awesome. We are in business. All right. Hello and welcome, everybody. It's Jason Linett here, and this is Hypnotic Talks. It's an online learning event. And again, today is Tuesday, March 7th, 2017. And in this presentation, I'm going to be sharing with you some actionable strategies that you can fold into your own business to really bump up the success that you get with your business. You know, the classic advice you've likely heard before is to go out and give presentations. And that's good advice. Yet chances are many of you have tried this strategy before, and maybe, unfortunately, it did not work out as well as you would have liked. You know, as I like to say, you may have been there and they served you breakfast, they gave you a dry piece of chicken for lunch, and yet you really didn't get any business out of it. Inside of this online learning event today, I'm going to share with you part of my story of how I got started and how I really workshopped this go out and give live talks strategy to really make things work. The brief version of this is that when I left my full-time job working in management and the arts, the local hypnosis community was a little negative about that. Not that they saw me as competition, but it was more so they were concerned. You know, they're going, you shouldn't have quit your job so quickly. Maybe you should have transitioned more slowly. And at the very next meeting, a month later, I had a packed schedule of appointments. And these same people who, let me just label it, they were crying doom and gloom, were now the ones asking me, okay, how did you do that? And this is one of the strategies that I made use of. And today, during this hour we're going to spend together, I'm going to share with you some actionable strategies that you can put into place to really bump up your success in giving, as I like to call them, hypnotic talks. So with that in mind, let's actually get into some of the goals here. There we are. There's my display. So let's actually get into some of my goals in terms of this presentation. I want to help you to rethink the live talks model to help you to grow your hypnosis business. The more of us that are out there working successfully, the more of us that'll be out there working successfully. We all win with that strategy. I'm going to help you to empower a low-tech mechanism to book more clients. Why? Because when you see some of the things that I typically do with Work Smart Hypnosis, whether it's an event like this, some of your heads explode when I start to get into my high-tech stuff. Now, I'll be open and honest with you. I don't know how my webinar platform works, but I use a company that I'm able to send the instructions over and they program everything for me. Though we've already had a few technical glitches and we're already 4 minutes in. Yeah, we are live. Helping you also to build confidence in your public speaking. As I like to say, as a hypnotist, you get to go into any room and you have the most interesting job of anybody there. So it's about time we recognize this massive confidence that we can bring into our presentations. And if you do have fears of public speaking, I would comfortably tell you, hypnosis is really good for that. Find someone you know and trust, hire them, get over that fear. Also, it's all about helping you to get out there and spread awareness of hypnosis. Again, I firmly believe that we are in a competition-free business. There are still more people out there who can benefit from our private services, more people out there who can benefit from our products, more audiences out there that can interact with our stage hypnosis shows than even as of now there are practitioners to serve these people. So I refuse to believe in comp. I'll leave out who it was, though. I think he's in the room watching. It's a moment where someone came up to me at a hypnosis convention. They're also someone who talk about hypnosis and business. And he goes, I wanted to see what the competition was up to. And my honest response, without being the smart aleck, was, if you see me as your competition, then you're not my competition. Again, it's a field of abundance out there. So get out there, spread awareness, and really just compete with yourself. Do better and better work in terms of what you can do. So throughout this program today, it's going to be interactive. I've got about maybe 30 to 40 minutes of stuff I want to share with you. As usual these days, I've elected to do these fancy screenshots because that helps to save on the bandwidth and helps to prevent buffering on your side. Though I'll probably jump in with a live display a little bit later, but again, with people's various internet connections, especially as we're now maxed out. The room is full, 150 people. I've got 3 nasty messages already saying, I can't get in. Well, they'll get the replays. So as you have questions, once again, put them in the Q&A box beneath this video and beneath the video display, and I will do my best to answer those. I do ask a small favor, as always, only ask your question once. I will see it, though if you ask it 14 times, I will ignore it. Love you. So with that in mind, let me now introduce myself. I'm Jason Lynette. I'm in Virginia and I do hypnosis. My business's name is Virginia Hypnosis. And on your screen right now, this is the Work Smart Hypnosis podcast. We just celebrated the 100th session. And to date, it's been downloaded more than 70,000 times around the world. It's Tuesday right now. So this coming Thursday, we've got Mr. Ken Guzzo about to appear on the program. Next week, we've got Carl Smith. And head over to worksmarthypnosis.com to browse through the past library. You can download this for absolutely free on iTunes. At this point, more than 100 sessions of conversations with top practitioners from around the world, as well as my own content as well. This is my business, Virginia Hypnosis, where I am sitting right now, at least for the next 36 hours before I head out to Vegas for about 2 weeks. I'm in Virginia and I do hypnosis. So the gods of Google opened up and I named the business Virginia Hypnosis. And even as I'm doing all of my training, all of my teaching, all of my everything else that I do, I still maintain a pretty full schedule, seeing a couple of dozen clients a week. I love the pattern of every week is absolutely different. So basically put, here's why you should listen to me. I am the hypnosis business guinea pig. I will not teach you things that I have not done myself. This is not the game of, oh, I read this on a forum somewhere, I bought someone's training and I'm repurposing it for you. No, this is the actual stuff that I have done. I will not teach you things that I have not done myself. There needs to be a whole lot more of that. in this hypnosis profession. Again, the Work Smart Hypnosis podcast has been downloaded more than 70,000 times worldwide. I'd comfortably share with you the live clients component of my business. Just that component of seeing one-to-one clients, that is a six-figure income. Throw on top of that my products, my trainings, my everything else that I do. Life is comfortable. We'll put it at that. And I've made this model work while others say it's outdated. Take note of that bullet point. One of my favorite statements to share with you, that as we look at business, even as we look at hypnotic techniques, it's very rarely the platform. It's almost always the strategy. And I'd guarantee you, I've got 5 specific points I'm going to share with you inside of this presentation. And you're going to see ways that maybe if you've gone out and given live presentations before, it might start to click and you might start to realize how you could have done it, as I like to say, more, gooder, better, to use the clinical terminology. And also, more importantly, it's not just about, look what I've done. My students have replicated these results with the strategies that you will learn today. So it's not the environment of all the students sitting at the foot of the master and saying, look how awesome he is, though I'll take it. Instead, it's about giving you strategies that, again, I mean, if you listen to the podcast, the number of times I've had former students of mine on the program, and they are now my peers, and they're out there working just as much, if not more than I am. You got to hear the podcast session I did with Nicholas Pallison the week that he did like 60 plus sessions. That's a great one. So Hypnotic Talks, I'd share with you, this is a bit of a preview of something coming up at the IMDHA Hypno Expo 2017. Hypnotic Talks is going to be a full one-day intensive business training, and you can learn more all about that upcoming event, as well as the upcoming Hypno Expo 2017. Head over to hypnotictalks.com to learn about that entire full one-day hands-on business training. Though today it's an online learning event, so you and I can interact together, the 151 of us now. How'd that work? The 151, 150 of you and me. We can all interact together as I share these strategies, and we get this up in motion. So with that in mind, let's jump right in. Here is the first bullet point. Here is the first theme that I want to spend some time chatting with you about here today. And the premise is very simple. As you see it on the screen, show, don't tell. Let me tell you a bit of a story here. I worked in management in the arts, and most of that time was spent as a theatrical stage manager working in professional regional theaters. And you could often tell the difference between the amateur actor and the professional actor based on a phenomenon that I nicknamed docking. Docking, like a boat docks at the pier, where the amateur actor doesn't feel comfortable unless they're hugging the scenery. You know, they're standing behind a sofa. They've got their elbow up on the door frame. They're standing behind a counter. They can't just stand in the middle of the stage and just be human. You know, if you know the scene from the Will Ferrell movie, Talladega Nights, the ballad of the race car movie, the opening sequence, he's being interviewed and he's going, I don't know what to do with my hands. It's where most people in terms of going out and giving a presentation, they're going to stand behind that lectern. It's a lectern, not a podium. A podium is the thing you stand on. Look it up. They'll stand behind the lectern and they'll clutch that thing, and they're just going to talk about hypnosis. Here's the history of it. Here's the monoideism story. Here's a list of things that people could come to me as a hypnotist and I'm good at working on. They're not showing, they're telling. And realize, even I know most of you, as I'm looking through the attendance here, I know most of you at this point, usual suspects. I know most of you are on the hypnotherapy side of things. I know at the same time, many of you are also stage hypnotists, yet realize we have that power as the hypnotist to give an experience. So you've got a couple of options here. And I'm always one to say that, again, it's very rarely the platform. It's almost always the strategy. I mean, you could get up and do a progressive muscle relaxation induction for the entire group. You can do what I've classically done and intertwine some hypnotic suggestibility test as interactive moments during your presentation. The very first thing that I do when I get up to give a presentation is really, it's a bit of theatrical blocking, as it's called, where I walk up to that lectern and the first thing I do is ask the question, hey, where can I put this? And I set that thing off to the side of the room, and suddenly now I am standing stage center right there in the middle of the room. And immediately that sets the expectation today is going to be different. You know, all of their other speakers, that if they're a group that normally holds presentations, people stand penned, docked behind that lectern. And as a hypnotist, you have that ability to give them an experience. A favorite strategy is that I'll do some suggestibility test, and I'm profiling my audience to track down who are those people that are eating up and loving every bit of what I'm doing. And then those are the ones that I suddenly look at towards the end and I go, hey, would you like to help me out? Notice that I don't call for a volunteer. I point out the one who's been loving everything I've been doing and say, hey, you want to help out? And then I nail that demonstration with just one person to really give the ultimate experience. Wow, look at this hypnosis thing. That is outstanding. So again, Hypnotic Talks online learning event. Point number one, show, don't tell. You got to tell a little bit, of course, but at the same time, give them an experience. That's what's unique about hypnosis. Though, as we're talking about doing a hypnotic talk, some of you may be surprised to see this point that's on the screen now, which is that here I am talking about giving a hypnotic presentation, and notice that it now says, don't offer a talk on hypnosis. Yeah. So what do you do? Well, think about it for a moment. And if you've seen me at a hypnosis convention, if you've been on any of my online learning events up until now, you've likely heard one of my catchphrases where I love to say with a big old smile on my face, you are an outstanding hypnotist. You're a crappy website designer. So why do I say that? Well, some of you are actually wonderfully skilled graphic designers, because it's where I comfortably tell you, know your specialty, know what you do well. I don't know how most of, I have membership products on WorkSmart Hypnosis. Hypnotic Workers is my entire digital access hypnosis training library. Hypnotic Business Systems is the entire digital access business library with screenshot tutorials and all the bells and whistles and done for you marketing campaigns. I honestly can tell you, I don't know how that membership software works. Yet my graphics person, my web designer does. So why do I reference that here? Because these groups don't know that they need a hypnotist. And I'll tell you comfortably, the kiss of death is to reach out to one of these groups where you might be giving a presentation and offer them, hi, I'm a hypnotist and I can do a talk on hypnosis. And what happens? Well, they immediately, the filters hop up, and now they're on the lookout because now they're convinced, as they should be, this guy's just going to try to come in and sell his service. So instead, you want to be a little clever about your delivery. Instead, what I encourage you to do is to build some sort of customized presentation, which the easiest way to do this is, well, think about the things we would normally suggest to somebody while they're in hypnosis. What are some of the common issues that people would come to us to want to address? So realize they don't know that they need a talk on hypnosis. So don't offer them that. Instead, well, look at the structure of today. I'm going to give you 5 strategies to improve your public speaking. And well, you can honestly model the experience of what you're interacting with right now to do the content creation machine, as I call it, and teach them 4 strategies for workplace stress management, 6 techniques to improve your public speaking. And it's the point of view where, let me give you a tip on this, something that I used to do badly, and I since got over it, which would be that I would apologize before my presentation began. Hey, my name is Jason Lynette, and I'm a board certified hypnotist. Though I'm not here today to talk to you about that, I'm here today to talk to you about relieving stress while at work. No, it's not I'm not here to do that. I'm a board certified hypnotist. I'm an expert at helping people to relieve stress. And today I'm going to share with you these 3 points. Earn your right to be up there. is what I'm basically getting at. Set your credentials as you're up there. Though the beautiful thing to do, again, is to profile this group. You're suddenly going to be in front of, and this is where your only limitations become your imagination. Because at this point now, notice that we haven't yet talked about what groups you could speak to. Because at this point, realize you could give that presentation to any group you could possibly track down. So you discover that here's a local meetup from meetup.com, and they're all realtors. What if there were some conversational hypnotic strategies that you could teach to build better rapport with their clients? All of you can do that. And that becomes a presentation that now they become ravenous and they want to have you there, as opposed to let's use the same group. Here's a group of realtors, and suddenly you're now in front of them offering the hypnosis in the 21st century talk. They don't know they need that. They don't know they want that. And that's where, again, as I've done some of my private consulting over the years, as I've got my online community inside of Hypnotic Business Systems, the folks that are members inside of that, that's where people are going, oh, I tried approaching this local Rotary group. They didn't want my talk. Well, why? Because you offered them something they didn't know they needed. Instead, what I'm telling you here is customize your presentation. Customize the title in such a way that it's something that now they're going to become ravenous, that they're going to want. The beautiful thing of this is this. Let me give full credit and full respect to Don Motton. Don Motton, those of you active in the NGH know who Don Motton is. And Don has a great line, which is the most stressed profession in the United States. And I know we've got an international audience. So which career path is the most stressed of any career out there? And Don's answer is wonderful, as he would say, whatever group is in front of you. Yeah. So I've actually done stress relief programs for teachers, stress relief programs for nurses, stress relief programs. Here's a fun one I did at one point. I was working the circuit giving a talk on conversational influence at a local periodontist office. Yeah. That is an overworked niche now, isn't it? No, of course not. So realize, again, your only limitation here is your imagination. So to play a simple strategy, you can simply start to track down, where do people gather? What organizations are in your area? And then play the game of what type of presentation would they be interested in? And let me give you an honest tip on this, which would be offer it first. Offer it first. And then when they respond, that's when I want you to create the content. That might sound a little dishonest, I know, to some of you, but yet imagine the opposite, where you've now spent 3 months putting together a custom presentation that it turns out nobody wanted. So you always can bend the truth a little bit and say, my schedule's full for the next 2 months. It's March right now. What do you have available in May? Now you've got 2 months to put together your presentation. This kind of goes back to the show, don't tell formula, which would be the offer, then create format. Otherwise, again, it's that kiss of death, the way that the stage hypnotist sometimes would be convinced that, oh, I have to go out and buy a really expensive sound system before I can do shows. And you're fooling yourself into being busy. The hypnotist would go, oh, I need my website, my business card. I need all these nuts and bolts in place before I go out and start seeing clients. When I'm honestly not much of a business plan guy, I'm a take serious action kind of guy. Although, how do you make the offer? How do you reach out to these groups? And let me just comfortably tell you, in all the time we're going to spend together here today, what you're seeing on screen right now is perhaps, I think, the most valuable nugget of wisdom I could possibly share with you. It's all about the approach. Again, if you've ever sent in a press release, if you've ever sent in a media release to a newspaper, radio station, television station, and they respond to you with the ad sheet, you sent in a press release about World Hypnotism Day, and they responded with their sort of graph in terms of how much it costs to run an ad inside of the newspaper. What that basically means is that the offer you sent in came across a little too salesy. What that basically means is that you offered them something which just reeked of give me free advertising. So you always want to play the WIIFYM game. WIIFYM. What's in it for me is the strategy. So here is the technique that has been the most effective for me in terms of giving these presentations, and not just giving the presentations, but honestly booking the presentations. Let's go back to our group of realtors, for example. Hey, I've got two programs that I typically offer to business organizations such as yours. One is on conversational ethical influence to build greater rapport with your clients, and the other is on stress relief in professional business relationships. Of these two presentations, which one do you think your group would be the most interested in? And my hypno junkies here in the audience are, of course, perking up now, because what have I done? I've given the double bind. I've given a bit of a false dichotomy, because there's an obvious third option, which is the we don't want either one. You know, it's where you always want to disconnect from the binary response. You never really want to be inside of the yes, we want to do this, or no, we don't want to do this. I have seen the best results. My students have seen the best results as well by going into such an interaction with at least two titles, with at least two presentations on the table. Hey, I give these two talks, option A, option B. Of those two, which do you feel would be the best for your group? And by asking it that way, it's also in terms of a little bit of a conversational influence strategy. It's a bit of an implied close, because you're truly giving the expectation that one of these is going to be a better fit for their group than the other. So take note of something else. Let's throw in a bonus. Ooh, 6 strategies for the cost of 5, even though it's a free webinar here today, which would be, as my language often is, I'd highly encourage you to thingify your offering. So thingify your offering. The way that today was Hypnotic Talks, the online learning event to learn 5 strategies to grow your business with self-hypnosis. I called it something. It's not a talk about stress. It's not a talk about, well, talking. Instead, it's all about making that binding offer. And the binding offer is instead this, as I like to call it, thingified offer. Turn it into a thing. Label it as if it's a brand, as if it's a product. And by doing that, that really bumps up the, the sexiness of that offer that you're about to make to that group. Because then from there, it's something that they can respond to. It's something they can react to, something that they can refer to by name. And even better now, it really excites that imagination. Hey, let's throw in a bonus one here as well. Again, this goes back to show, don't tell. We as hypnotists, we are masters of Ericksonian hypnosis. We are skilled practitioners of exciting the imagination, exciting the representational systems of our audience, the visual, the auditory, the kinesthetic, the olfactory, the gustatory. So again, it comes back to giving them an experience. So what are we talking about here? Sell the sizzle, not just the steak. Here is what your attendees will have at the end of this presentation. And this is what I'm going to offer. And I also have this presentation of those two, which would be the best fit for your group. I'll tell you comfortably right now, I think this is probably the most important takeaway from this presentation here today. And honestly, as I've given this presentation inside of my private communities, it's the one that was the most overlooked. And as soon as the students put it in place, the results truly skyrocketed. So thingify your offerings and then make the offer as a binding offer. A or B, which one's best for you? It's the chicken or the fish. It's the paper or plastic, and many other metaphors that I'm going to skip coming up with now. So let's move forward now as I have a sip of my coffee. Excuse me a second. Again, if you've got any questions on any of these points so far, We've got the Q&A box down beneath the display here. Feel free to throw them in there. And also, hey, why not? If you have some success stories of doing things of this nature as well, share those in the Q&A box, and we will hype your success here as well. So empower their networks. Let me tell you a little bit of a story here, because most of you who have heard of this strategy of going out and giving the live talk have likely heard the advice to go after civic groups, local nonprofit organizations, like a Rotary, like a Kiwanis, like a Lions Club, a Moose Lodge, an Elks Club, Eagles Airy, if I've been getting the terminology right, which that's good. I'd comfortably share, as much as it's rarely the platform, it's almost always the strategy kind of person. I've seen the most mixed results with the free talk at the local library. It's where I want to go after a place that has their own built-in audience. And I want to go after a group of people that chances are having to make some sort of compliance step to be a part of that organization. So maybe they're a member of this private real estate group. Maybe they are a member of this organization. Maybe I'm going to do some sort of lunch and learn at a local business. So, it's that experience that I want to go after a group that has their own built-in audience. Otherwise, I'm having to basically four-wall it and build the experience myself. Kevin Costner was a dirty liar. If you build it, they won't come. I'd rather they build it and then I come, basically being the strategy. Though here's the story of a local Rotary group that I did a presentation at, which honestly, this was before I really figured out the techniques that I'm sharing with you here today, which would be that the experience was I left kind of quietly cursing the group that didn't work. No one gave me any clients. Yet over the next 3 months, here's the rest of the story. The wife of the president of that Rotary group came to me as a client to lose weight. As she had success, the accountant inside of that Rotary group then came to me as a client. As he was successful, 3 other people from the Rotary group came in as clients. And as they were successful, this one connected with Interact. Interact is the high school sort of version of Rotary. And this one, who was the advisor of the Interact Club at the nearby high school, reached out to me because he goes, "Hey, I see you do this fundraising stage hypnosis show. And I can comfortably tell you, I've now been working that high school for about 5 or 6 years running." So from my experience of waking up really early, I believe on a Tuesday morning, and going up and giving my little 20-minute routine at this Rotary group, to date, we're now looking at more than at least $15,000 of income. So anything involving a network, anything involving a group of people, the phrase that really empowers this thing is, who do you know? Who do you know? So it's where you could be in a room with 50 people, yet each of those 50 people knows another 50 people. And to do the math on that, 50 exponentially divided out and spread out, multiplied, the exact number, it's a lot of people that are going to be in front of you. So it's where, even if we're talking network marketing, going to a chamber of commerce, a meetup group, a business networking international type thing, it's not just the people in the room, it's the people in the room and who they know. So this is honestly how, as I was making use of this strategy more frequently, it's one that one presentation built upon the next. So there's a great book in the nonprofit fundraising industry. The title of the book is called "Don't Applaud, Just Send Money." It's a fantastic little book if anybody's involved in nonprofit arts, or any nonprofit for that nature. Don't applaud, just send money. We actually, back in college, I was the president of the theatrical fraternity, Alpha Psi Omega. Of course, I ran it like a business rather than a social group. But as we did revitalize the thing, and it's still running to this day now. But as we took a piece of advice from that book, and suddenly we financed like 30 of us to go out to a major theater convention, and all of us had to pay was $10 for chipping in for gas for the bus. We're talking several $100s per student was raised. So don't applaud, just send money. Basically, as people are raving, you've done your presentation, you've shown rather than just told. And it's the experience now that as they're so elated and as they're so happy, point number one, I'd encourage you to get them to commit to giving you some bit of feedback, whether it's a written letter, whether it's a video testimonial. Ooh, video. When you're giving these presentations, bring along your camera, because I'll tell you now, if you look on YouTube, there is a video of me at a local Rotary group. I think this dates back to 2010, maybe. And the thing has tens of thousands of views, and I still get people calling me as a result of that video. So that begins to build your social media footprint as you film yourself at these presentations. So get the social proof in place by the testimonial letter, by the letter from them, the video testimonial. Yet at the same time, the magical question is, what groups do you know of that would benefit from a presentation like this? Or even better, you offered them 2 talks, didn't you? Minimum of 2. Scott up in New Hampshire just asked, do you recommend giving them a choice of only 2 presentations, or would more be better? I think there's going to be a point of diminishing returns on that. If I really had to get critical with my answer, I'd say I think classically the most I ever offered was 3, as opposed to, think of the experience when you go to a diner or some sort of chain restaurant like a TGI Fridays. And I mean, just so many options of food. We just wrapped up a certification class here at my office this past weekend, and I was ordering, we did like a lunch and learn on the last day. We watched a stage hypnosis video during the lunch break. I ordered pizzas, and I'm looking at the menu of this place. And from the pizza place, we can get sandwiches, we can get gyros, we can get calzones, of course, from a pizza place. We can get salads. Yet they also had baklava. They also had, they had kebabs. They had everything. So it becomes that analysis paralysis when you've got too many things. It's like when you go to Target to buy one thing and you leave with $150 worth of stuff. So I'd tell you, Scott, I'd recommend 2 minimum, 3 maybe maximum. If you give them too much of a list, and there's Sandra. Hey, see you next week in Vegas. If you give them any more than 2, they go into analysis paralysis. I'd say 2 or 3. 2 or 3 probably won't do that. Any more than 3 absolutely would. Though, take note of this. There is a local, it's a local Rotary group that for a while I was there every 6 months. They would bring me back. It was a massive group. And again, it's not just the fact that they've seen me, because the more they see me, the more rapport I'm building with them. Though the benefit becomes I was back again with a different presentation. Of all people to talk about here by way of a metaphor, we have the local, I'm in Alexandria, Virginia. We have the local comedy club in Washington, D.C., the D.C. Improv. And they will bring in major comedians, people like Dave Attell, people like Frank Caliendo is going to be there in a couple of weeks, and several other people you might recognize. But they'll only bring those comedians in once a year. Yet they bring in the stage hypnotist Flip Orley like 3 or 4 times a year. Why? Because the hypnotist is different. And also it's a different show every single time. And we have that ability. If they took talk number 2, you could be back there again in a week. You can be back there again in like 6 months offering talk number 1 or talk number 3. So again, empower their networks to be back there once again, get their feedback, use that as leverage. I am still using a testimonial letter from the chiropractor who was the president of a local Kiwanis group that I think I spoke to again back in maybe 2010 or 2011. Still using that letter to this day. So again, empower their networks and really use that as leverage to get out there and give more presentations. There it is. We've got some questions that have been coming in. So some of them I'm tabling for a little bit later, so I am seeing them. Though once again, just ask it once. What I'd really encourage you to do, though, is to really take these 5 points. I already got the request in the follow-ups and the replays. I will make these slides available to you, which is silly because I think I only have like 13 slides for this presentation because they're bigger picture themes that I wanted to discuss with you here. I tell you what, later today, if the replay is available later today, I'll just put these bullet points in the email. But yes, Mark, I will make these slides available. I will make these slides available. So the last point to share with you, I think, is an important one. Leave them wanting more. And I'll generalize the story, and I'd reference this because it's actually not a negative, but there is a student of mine that recently he opened up his office. He did a local sort of ribbon cutting thing in terms of his local business that he's opened up. And he put together this 90-minute presentation, which actually those of you that are inside of hypnoticworkers.com, you'll actually see this interaction in the ongoing webinars that are inside of that content. This was from the one we did back in, I believe, February. Inside of Hypnotic Workers, those of you that are inside of that, hypnoticworkers.com, scroll all the way down. Once you're inside the member content, you'll see the actual interaction I'm talking about. But he put together this kind of 90-minute group presentation where he kind of gave it all away. He kind of gave them the entire experience. He did a group session. He was doing suggestibility test. And I mean, he was doing the real work for a good 90 minutes. And when I say leave them wanting more, there's going to be several points that fit inside of this perspective. First of all, again, kind of like that story, don't give away everything. They still need an experience that makes them want to take the next step. You know, as we're in the area that we're in now of what's classically called content marketing, where you are delivering valuable content, and perhaps by the mechanism of reciprocity or building credible authority, that's what's bringing people into your office. I'll give you the filter that makes content marketing work. So the way that it works is that what you basically do is you ride the difference between, again, show versus tell. So, you know, let's use an example outside of this presentation, which would be very much about how do you actually work with someone to quit smoking? Well, to quit smoking, what they need to do is they perhaps need to throw away their cigarettes. They need to respond better to emotional triggers. They need to find more satisfying behaviors that support their health. And they need to, as I like to say, stick up to themselves. You know, not just stick up for themselves, but stick up to themselves and perhaps make use of some strategies along the way to be effective. You know, what have I done there? I've told you what to do. That's what to do. But the difference is, well, how do you do it? Well, inside of my Stop Smoking Hypnosis program, you and I are going to work together and you're going to learn the mechanisms of how to do that for yourself. So do you hear the difference there? I didn't give the nitty-gritty details. Instead, I kind of gave the basic overview of how to do that. So again, it's where you could teach them the strategies, yet again, the easiest way to make that close at the end is the phrasing of, now I know you've learned a lot of great strategies, though I know many of you perhaps need a little bit more help with this content. And for that, here are my services. And for that, here's how you book my stage hypnosis program. For that, here's how you sign up for my training, where you give them enough that if they really were dedicated, they could reinvent the wheel and do it for themselves. It would be a lot of work. Yet the easiest transition to make an appropriate offer, because most of these groups are very much anti-sales, the easiest way to make that low stress pitch at the end is the answer to how can I make that easier for you is to pay for this specific service. Come see me in my office, sign up for this class, purchase this product. That's the transition. You give them the overview, leave them wanting more. Let me give you another thing that fits inside of this leave them wanting more concept. Yeah, Scott just reiterated. Scott's my backup here. Scott Babub in here. Give them the what and how clothing. I love it. I love it. So another strategy that kind of relates to leave them wanting more, another strategy to it is to offer something during your presentation as a mechanism to get them on your mailing list. And I am somebody, most of you are already on my email list. So I'm a big proponent of email marketing. Yes, there are people in the world who do not have email addresses. I will accept that. However, let's point to the majority. The majority of people out there who are willing to come in and pay for your service are also people who have email addresses. So that's who I focus on. Inside of Virginia Hypnosis, I've only ever had one client ever that didn't have an email address. So I didn't treat it as weird. I just simply said, what's your mailing address? And then I sent him a physical, I put my email in his contact record. And as I received the email reminders, I printed them out and I stuck them in the mail to him. That's one out of more than 1,000 or so clients at this point. So the mechanism of leave them wanting more is to look at your presentation as the beginning of the conversation. So what you do there is you make a specific offer. Now, let me share with you a bit of an advanced strategy here, just kind of the overview of it, which is that I will find a moment to make an offer. Hey, would it be helpful if I shared fill in the blank with you? Okay. And then I come up with something else. Hey, would it be helpful if I shared that with you? Okay. And once I have them wanting it, that's when I then pass around my mechanism to get them to opt into my list. So I don't just pass around. It's the phrase that those of you that have heard me speak before, I say it with a loving smile on my face. Nobody wants to sign up for your damn newsletter because it's such a generic, non-interesting offer, as opposed to, hey, I've got my Take 10 to Relax audio program that I sell on my website for $10. And as a thank you, it's a process you can make use of practically anytime it's appropriate to close your eyes and completely de-stress in a matter of 10 minutes or less. And as a thank you, I'd like to make that available to all of you as a gift. Would you like that? Yes. Now I pass around the clipboard. Or I use, there's an app called iCapture. iCapture, it is a membership service, but that's if you've ever seen me at a convention collecting data on an iPad. That's what I use. It's a little bit of a pricey thing to make use of, but the cool thing is my iPad is connected to the LTE connection, the wireless connection. It's sending the email out right away. Set it and forget it. So leave them wanting more. There's 2 points to this. One being give them enough of the experience that they recognize the value that you're providing. And 2, build a mechanism to continue the conversation, which is to offer, again, some sort of thingified offering to make them take that next step. We're talking about lead generation marketing here, to get them to raise their hand and they're identifying that they are interested in your service. So at this point, where are we now? You've excited their imaginations by doing an effective demo. You've demonstrated expertise by customizing your presentation. And a question from Jessica, yeah, if you're getting up there and you're only talking about stress relief, will that mean that people won't come to see you for stopping smoking? And the answer is N-I-C-H-E, that word that's spelled N-I-C-H-E. How is that pronounced? It's not niche, it's niche, because niche rhymes with rich. When you take it and when you turn it into a specific niched down, customized offering, you are actually given a much higher level of regard. And they're going to fill in the gaps for you. Trust me on this. I one time was there at a periodontist office giving a talk on effective language with their patients. And 2 of the nurses on staff then came in as weight loss clients. They put the dots together. That's the hypnosis guy. And wow, if he's so good at this, I bet he's so good at that as well. That was the mental process they went through. So you've demonstrated that expertise by customizing your presentation. And by doing so, you've made an offer that people will actually respond to. Again, give them at least 2, I'd say maximum of 3 offerings. That binding offer, you're going to find a much better reaction by doing it in that format. You've utilized the power of network marketing. By utilizing that power of network marketing, what happens for you? It's not just the people in the room, it's everyone else they also know. Because remember my story about the local Rotary group? Well, that's a group that only had about 12 members. Now, down the road, we have the, I'll leave out the city, but the such and such city Rotary group that has like 150 members. Didn't get much business from that one, surprisingly. It was before I developed these strategies I'm sharing with you now. Yet the group of 12 those guys were connectors. Those guys and gals were all connectors. That's what it's all about. It's word of mouth. You want some big mouths out there. And you've employed a mechanism to build your list. So make a specific offering and don't just say sign up for my email list for updates. No, make a very, very specific offering that by doing so, you're able to then make that connection and get them to interact with you. So then how do you put it all together? How do you put it all together? What do you present? What do you teach? How do you find these organizations? How do you structure the program? What materials do you give them to make sure you've got a packed audience? Well, for that, join me in Daytona Beach, Florida at Hypnotic Talks. It's going to be at the Hypno Expo 2017, which is happening, the actual Hypno Expo 2017. It's the IACT IMDHA convention, which is happening Friday, Saturday, Sunday, May 19, 20, and 21. It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday in beautiful Daytona Beach, Florida. And check this out. The registration for Hypnotic Talks is only $175. You can learn more about that event by heading over to hypnotictalks.com. I've already received the question from a couple of folks. No, you do not have to be a member. This is actually a fair answer for all conventions. So whether you're looking at the Hypno Expo, the NGH convention, the Hypno Thoughts Live, Canadian Hypnosis Conference, Mid-America, to attend their convention. And that's absolutely true of the Hypno Expo 2017, though IACT and IMDHA, fantastic groups, join them. So whether you're attending the convention, whether you're just attending the one-day event, you can learn more about that event over at hypnotictalks.com. Learn more about the Hypno Expo 2017. Really easy to track down. It's hypnoexpo2017.com. Beautifully warm and sunny and right by the beach, Daytona Beach, Florida. It's going to be a post-convention offering on Monday, May 22nd, 2017. Again, it's a bargain registration for that one-day event that I'm teaching, Hypnotic Talks. It's only $175. Here's what you're going to learn. You're going to learn how to structure your programs in such a way to draw in your audience. How do you build these mental triggers of anticipation, of desire, of curiosity? So as soon as you begin your presentation, they are wrapped around each and every word and wanting more from you. You're going to learn some advanced marketing strategies that continue the conversation of your live talk well after the talk is over. You're going to learn, again, how to leverage these talks into high-paying clients. Let me give you a little bit of a preview. We talk often about a sales funnel, and the further along the path that you are the live service at the end of the funnel, the higher your premium is. So by giving these presentations, this is the mechanism that I've classically used to book a whole lot more clients, become the go-to guy in my local community, and then continuously along the way, raise my rates. So on top of that, you're going to learn the right way to book these programs. Because trust me, there's a wrong way. It's the way I did it for the first couple of years. Again, hypnosis business guinea pig. I'm going to save you the learning curve of reinventing the wheel yourself. And instead, I'm going to teach you the right way to do it from the very start and how to dominate a niche market to earn top dollar. You know, there are certain markets that you can go after. Yes, we can all, it's easy advice from the business coach to say, follow the money. You'll always have clients for weight loss. You'll always have clients for stop smoking. You'll always have high schools that want stage hypnosis programs, corporate events that want holiday parties. Yet there are certain markets that you get to be the trendsetter inside of and become that big fish in the small pond. And by doing so, you are an irreplaceable value as opposed to a commodity, just like everybody else. You'll experience what I call the hypnotic content creation machine. Okay, that's a thingified example right there, if that isn't one right there. It's the mechanism that I use to easily create new content quickly, easily, and effortlessly in such a way that it's rather easy to put together these presentations, even on a short notice. You're going to learn, again, the ethical influence tactics that I use to get virtually everybody in the room on my list. And if you've seen me at a hypnosis convention speak, you already know just how well I do that. The mechanism to get everybody in the room interacting while this one's passing around a clipboard and getting 4 or 5 names, I'm leaving a typical event with 50 to 60 new people from each and every presentation that I do. It's a hands-on event. So this is content that is unique. So those of you that are inside of Hypnotic Business Systems, hypnoticbusinesssystems.com, which is actually available this month. We had the waiting list closed off for a while. Those of you wanting digital business training, check out hypnoticbusinesssystems.com. Though what's different about this event is it's a hands-on experience where all of us are going to be in the room together. So with that, there's going to be several hot seat opportunities to get your questions answered with hands-on strategy sessions to create your content. So you're going to leave this one-day event with your presentations built and ready to go. And it's all about building the opportunity to scale up your business, scale up your success, and scale up your profits. Again, Hypnotic Talks. It's a one-day post-convention offering at the Hypno Expo 2017. And learn more about that at hypnotictalks.com. It's a bargain. Registration is actually a whole lot less than what most of you should be earning from a single client session. So make that small investment in yourself. Attend the entire Hypno Expo 2017. I'm seeing a couple of people asking who else is speaking there. Melissa Tears is going to be there. Sean Carson, Sarah Carson, Jess Marion, Richard Nongard, Will Horton. Check that out at hypnoexpo2017.com. They have an awesome lineup and a beautiful looking venue. And I did session 99 of the Work Smart Hypnosis podcast. Robert Otto was on that one. I'm looking here through some of the Q&A. I'll leave the screen up here for now. Let's see. Scott was asking, you can have a dozen possible presentations, but only offer them 2 or 3. Next time, don't offer the ones you've already given them. Offer them 2 or 3 that they haven't seen. Yes, Scott, absolutely. Which you've heard me say this before because you're inside of everything I've offered, which would be that the more you do, the more you do. So really, what's happening here? You're building these virtual assets. You have that presentation ready to go now. And they're so easily customized. Trust me on that. They're so easily built that suddenly you're realizing, oh, wait, here's this thing I did for a PTA group that I can now offer to this group of nurses. And just by making a few slight alterations, you now have what looks like an entirely different presentation. So it's all wonderfully modular. And again, it's the mindset of building assets inside of the process. Josh, you know me. Josh said, nice job utilizing all the steps for this presentation with a winky face. Josh, absolutely. And I do that on purpose because I want you to see the mechanisms in place. So really, as the replay of this becomes available, we're actually going to also repurpose this in a couple of weeks as a podcast session. So the audio, we might make the audio of this available a little sooner, but this will be a podcast session in a couple of weeks as well. So it's something that, again, I take delight and I do it on purpose. I use the strategies that I'm teaching you as I'm teaching them to you. That way you're able to go back and interact with the content again and not just take the literal learning of here are the 5 steps, yet then you're also able to go back through and model the experience. It's the way that many of us who train NLP would use the phrase of, we're using the techniques on you while you're teaching them. I just say it's the most ethical way to do it because, again, it's the mechanism to see, oh, that's how it works. I mean, hey, take this presentation and shift around some of the themes, and that might be your first presentation, just with entirely different content. It's the way that inside of Hypnotic Business Systems, I give people a done-for-you marketing campaign, which is all about booking stop smoking clients. And over the years, yes, many people inside of Hypnotic Business Systems have used that actual email sequence, but many others have modified that email sequence to become something for something else. Sandra, is always valuable information. Thank you. Yeah, see ya Monday next week or earlier, perhaps, as I fly out there Thursday morning. Let's see, Gene, would you consider recording your event and then making it available to purchase online? I can't answer that with a straight yes or no, because again, it's going to depend on the group. So you could. Um, I bounce back and forth between creating content based off of a live class, or sometimes being in an empty room and teaching a piece of content. There's Gene, I think you're inside of Hypnotic Business Systems, and there's a new module on targeting your ad traffic for social media paid marketing, which honestly, I woke up a little too early on Saturday morning this weekend, and I came in at 7 in the morning before a 9 a.m. class, and I shot a new module. Video guys editing that should be live in the next couple of days and added to the permanent collection. So really, it depends on your goals. I mean, the least you should do is record every presentation, because, well, here's a bonus tip. I did an appearance on a local Fox news station when I used to live in Baltimore. And the mechanism that I then used to book more TV appearances was I just simply sent the next news station the YouTube clip of me on that Fox station in Baltimore. So rather than a heavy pitch, instead it was hey, here's what I did for Fox 45 in Maryland. I'm going to be in your area. Would you like to do something like this? And that's all the email said. So the opportunity to, as I like to say, the opportunity to meet you before they even meet you is always that wonderful presupposition to work with. Tom, great presentation. Jason, thanks, Tom. The new office is looking great. Loving the photos you're putting up online. Let's see. Bub, I know who you are. Your system blanked out. Yes, there's always going to be replays. No, the content at the live Hypnotic Talks presentation, the one-day post-convention at the Hypno Expo 2017, what you're seeing here on the screen, not all of that is going to go into Hypnotic Business Systems. Some of the bullet points, some of the themes, but the hands-on interactive stuff just doesn't work in an online format, which is why this is a one-day hands-on intensive business training. So that will be different content from the online Hypnotic Business Systems versus the live Hypnotic Talks one-day workshop. Hey, Matt is logged in from right down the road from me. Hope my family's doing well. Yeah, they are. And I'm getting them ready for me to be out of town for 2 weeks for all these things in Vegas. See, Karen, presentation's valuable, not to be missed. Oh, I'm just going to read the feedback here and the positivity. A couple of more questions came in during this as well. Yeah, once again, you are able to attend the Hypno Expo 2017, even if you are not a member of the IACT or IMDHA organizations. You are able to attend even if you are not attending their convention, though I will comfortably tell you it's an outstanding event and you definitely want to be there, and just a wonderful group of people who are going to be there as well. So, hey, come hang out for a couple of days. There's also some really cool pre-convention offerings as well. Who else is going to be there? Roy Hunter is going to be out there. Sean Michael Andrews is going to be there. Usual suspects. What was the example that I gave? For the real estate group, I gave the example of one was on conversational ethical influence, which if that's not a thingified offering, I don't know what is. And option B, I think I may have just referenced something more down the middle, more conservative, which was stress relief in difficult scenarios, something of that nature. Anything you can do to make it seem like something that's customized to them, though I'd encourage you to be careful about, don't go in and pretend to know exactly the ins and outs of their workings of their business if you don't know their industry. The fastest way to lose credibility is to go in and just quickly demonstrate you don't know what they do. So my strategy is I don't pretend to know what they do. You're all the experts at how to sell cars. Though as a hypnotist, here are the skills that I've learned, and here are the ones that you can model. Here are the ones that you can make use of. Let's see, another question. Is there an early bird discount? Is there a scarcity? No, actually, the registration is going to stay at $175 for Hypnotic Talks, though I'd highly encourage there are some pre-materials I'm going to start to send out to the people in advance of this. So the earlier sign up, the more cool stuff that you. Yes, there will be a replay made available of this. And oh, the URL for the digital program. The digital program is not the digital program of the live event. They are two very different things because, well, I'll tell you this, at Hypno Thoughts this year, I'm doing a 2-day post-convention offering called Hypnotic Products. That's, as you might guess, hypnoticproducts.com. And I'll tell you comfortably, just because the video camera is running does not necessarily mean it's a product. There is a specific mechanism and style that makes a live event more effective and a product more effective. It's never one versus the other. So Hypnotic Talks, and really as well as Hypnotic Products, are both designed to be a hands-on interactive experience. So to really give you that workshop time to put your content together and give you kind of that action plan to go out and put it all into motion, Let's see, what other types of groups have I spoken to over the years? I'll give you the better answer for that, which would be that I very often don't want you to be the vendor. I want you to be the expert. So there's a podcast session that I did with Vicky Etchells out of Canada. She'd asked a question inside of Hypnotic Business Systems about an upcoming health fair that she was doing. And the real advice was, do not go and just be a vendor. Instead, seek out the opportunity to give a presentation. You want to be up there on that platform as the expert. You want to be up there in that role. So groups that I've spoken to, it's when I was active with my Chamber of Commerce, doing a program for them and leveraging that one. As I was active in a BNI, a Business Networking International, I'd often get up and during my 45-second commercial pitch, I would actually list one of the presentations that I could do. And the question would be, who do you know that would benefit from this presentation? Please give me a warm introduction to that organization. And by doing so, I was then giving a workshop at a local nonprofit cancer society. So I was there with their administration. I was there with their staff, not the cancer patients, but I was there with the connectors. So again, your only limitations are your own imagination with this strategy. And to get even more like this, once again, join me in beautiful Daytona Beach, Florida. I'd say it's going to be warmer there, but it's been oddly warm here in Virginia this week. It's 68 degrees outside right now at 1 o'clock here. Though an outstanding event, 3 days of hypnosis training, networking, and making new friends. And then stick around for the one day afterwards, Monday, May 22nd. That's going to be at the Hypno Expo 2017. Learn more about their convention at hypnoexpo2017.com and sign up for Hypnotic Talks today at hypnotictalks.com. Let me switch over and turn off my screen share here for a moment. And how do I do that? I think I'm live if you see me. There we are. There we are. I don't know how to work my own system. It's been fantastic having you here today. Fantastic having your questions. I see a lot of see you next weeks from people attending the Ultimate Stage Hypnosis Conference, as well as the Master Hypnotist course. Quick plug for that too. As of now, well, today it's Tuesday the 7th. We do have one spot remaining. We are at capacity, which is awesome. 6 days of accelerated hypnosis training with myself and Sean Michael Andrews. Really, it's not scarcity. We just have one spot left. I had to haggle with the hotel this morning. Look forward to seeing you in Daytona Beach at the Hypnotic Talks and the Hypno Expo 2017. Thank you all so much, and look forward to hearing of your success very soon.